listening to episode 224 of Mitolife Radio. I'm your host, Matt Blackburn, and today I'm interviewing my good friends, David and Will Khaziri. They are the founders of Bathing Evolved. They make really innovative bath products, amino acid infused bath salts. I love their CO2 bath bomb, and I'm really excited to try their Shilajit bath soap called Revival X. We cover a lot of ground in this show. For the first 30 minutes, we talk about our history with raw veganism. We were all into it around the same time. And this was an in-person, in-studio interview. And it's really cool to be able to do that with my best friends, David and Will. So enjoy the show. Here is David and William Khaziri. All right, David and Will Khaziri, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. This is my, I think, fifth in-person recording. We're in my studio, which is pretty cool. So.
Oh, yeah, it's great to be here.
I think you just blasted energy on the Rife machine on us, and we're just in a super inspired mood.
We're feeling all the supplements we took and the resonant light machine.
This is how God mode feels. Love it.
Well, for the listeners, we've been friends for, 7 years or something?
I think 10 years, man.
10 years.
Yeah, geez, time flies.
I'm like almost 38 now, and I think I met you for sure 28 at the raw food restaurant.
Yeah, I was a raw vegan chef at Go Raw in San Diego, and I was making like raw vegan cheesecake and smoothies and juices. And that was pretty much the height of my raw veganism. That was like my whole friend circle. And then these guys came in and then offered me chocolate. It was ant infused chocolate, like TCM herbs and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was kind of weirded out and I was really grossed out. And I think I like put it in the back and I'm like, I'm not going to eat that. And then eventually I did. I think I got a huge energy boost. And then I think it was a few weeks or a few months later, I saw them at the Robert Cassar talk.
Yeah.
I forget where that was.
In Orange County.
Yeah.
Because I remember we met at the counter when we were ordering our like raw salad and our like raw falafel balls. And then I don't know how Dr. Robert Cassar came up, but I think I was drinking he had a bunch of liquid elixirs. Mm-hmm. Blue-green algae water, and then he said, "Wait a minute, Dr. Cassar, I know him." Like, it's pretty, very, just a cool moment
because he's not like Michael Jackson or anything. For
right,
someone to meet somebody else that knows of Robert Cassar, it's
kind of an obscure reference. Like, I didn't think anyone knew who he was. Like, even my vegan friends didn't know who he was,
right? Because
they were just listening to people like Douglas Graham and I don't know, the Health Force guy, Jameis Sheridan, and
Hippocrates.
And Jameis Sheridan, God rest his soul.
But yeah, and then we were, Will and I had been into like Chinese herbs for probably at that point for a few years, and we were carrying a bag of like Ron Tea Gardens goji berries. We were like, doing a creative project, so we were just downing goji berries
to strangers.
Yeah,
on the street. But we actually went to Romani at Dean Thomas's. He had like conferences or whatever, like different, he would teach people about herbs or whatever. So we'd drive all the way to LA and, he'd have like these elixirs ready to go. He was a cool guy. We actually hung out with him a few times. But yeah, really big into Ron Tea Garden, what he was doing at the time. I think we might have gotten introduced. I forget how we got introduced to raw, to the elixirs and Chinese herbal tonic medicine.
It was the Erewhon.
From
the bar at Erewhon.
Like Truth Calkins. He's kind of an obscure reference too, but he's sort of like the Kurt Cobain of superfoods. But he was a cool guy. He worked at the tonic bar, and we would order these like $30 reishi drinks, and you'd feel totally enlightened afterwards. And like our passion was to recreate that at home. So, and Matt kind of shared that passion too.
Yeah, I think you guys had the head start with raw veganism because I think when I just met you guys, you'd just gone through that phase and already completed your 40-day orange juice fast. And did a lot of wild experiments. And
does your audience want to know more about our 40-day orange juice fast?
Where do we begin? I mean, I think a lot of raw vegans go through the progression, right? You start like standard American diet, and then you start reading about it. Like we read Tony Robbins. He wrote like, he had this one book or some program where he was like demonizing ice cream, saying, there's an antifreeze in the ice cream, and it scared us. We're like, we're never going to eat ice cream again. So that was like just step by step. We became like vegetarian, and then it progressed to like veganism, and then that wasn't enough. So then we said, hey, we got to cut out all the cooked food. We got to become raw.
And it made sense. I mean, why wouldn't you want to have more energized bioelectric food, right? But it totally contradicts what people have been saying for thousands of years and why we started cooking our food in the first place.
Well, it was like the Kirlian photography, I think, sold all of us, right? You see the tomato or the mushroom, and you're like, but what about, then you're like, what about amino acids? And
you see the leaf, it's like violet blue. Look at that. Look at that chi coming out of the leaf. And then look at the cooked leaf. It's just brown and like dark.
But we ended up going to the raw food festival in Santa Barbara in 2009, and that kind of opened our minds on that subject, seeing people who have been raw vegan. I think we met, what was that guy's name? He used to have the raw food store, Matt Monarch.
The raw food world.
Yeah, we met him there. His like ex-wife, this nice English lady.
It was really cool because up until that point, we were just learning everything from YouTube. So we always joke, like, had we like grown up, if our adolescence was in like the 60s, we would have went to India, like the cliche, like spiritual journey, like you go to India and like do your, try to find yourself. But we like went on YouTube because at that time, YouTube was like a few years old. So we were going down these rabbit holes, just learning about like not cooking our food. Just kind of funny, right? When you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Didn't you guys land at this guy, the barefoot herbalist?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So
a very obscure reference.
Yeah. We used to go, I think this is probably like 2008, 2009. We used to go in Cure Zone, and we were just looking for different health ideas. Like we learned about like Hulda Clark, the liver cleanses, and like Dr. John Christopher, he was a great American herbalist, learned about his formulas. And then the Barefoot Herbalist was like, he had like an online herbal store, but we, we would communicate with him on Cure Zone, and we would talk to him. And then this 40-day orange juice fast idea came up, and people were raving about it. Like, I feel reborn. I feel like all my ailments went away. And
I think the worst part of the orange juice fast was when, we actually juiced the entire orange with a peel. And that was like a psychedelic experience. I remember after we did that, we're just driving to I don't know, or the mall or something in Irvine. And I felt like something just like take me back like 400 feet psychologically. Like I was on a psychedelic trip. But we literally ate the equivalent of 8 peels, or whole orange peels juiced, which is actually, it turns out really good for you. People make marmalade and things like that. It's good androgenically, but
the
it was just overkill. So don't juice an entire orange and eat it.
Wow. I did that with watermelon, and it's interesting how the rind usually has a lot of like testosterone benefits, like hormonal.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, that's true. Like eating the whole food, like, so we were really just hell-bent on the raw vegan lifestyle. We really tried to do it. I mean, I think we did 40 days of drinking just orange juice. And that was rough because by day 40, I remember reflecting like, I'm starving. I don't feel any more mentally clear. And I didn't have a spiritual enlightening experience like Jesus fasting for 40 days. I don't even know what it did to me, but it definitely was eye-opening that, I have to look for, a different lifestyle. It's not sustainable.
Yeah, you guys were forgetting the key in the door, right? And having memory loss.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We told Matt this story numerous times, but yeah, I think it was like day 28 or 29. we were getting there to the finish line, and I think it was like the morning. I had to, leave and couldn't find my car keys, and then said, "Shoot, we got to call like the dealership and get like a spare key." I open up the door, and then the keys are in the door still. That was a very, a good raw vegan moment.
Maybe too much fructose to the brain.
I think so. The dementia was really accelerating.
Yeah, just a lot of fructose floating around our blood.
Fatty liver, non-alcoholic. We weren't drinking either, doing anything. It's just all the.
Yeah. Well, I think you guys were one of my big inspirations to start eating meat again, because there was this kind of renaissance happening on YouTube where like the majority of the health movement seemed to be raw vegan, at least on the surface. But there were people like branching off and, starting to eat like meat again, like bison and grass-fed beef, and kind of spreading this message like, hey, there's something beyond factory farming. It's not all factory farm meat, like PETA and Earthlings have you believe, And yeah, I think I couldn't have done it without you guys, because it was just such a religion dogma that I was stuck in of like
the culture,
not eating animals.
Yeah. But I think that's why we've become such good friends, because we're flexible and adaptable and we're not dogmatic. I mean, sometimes we are, but we can look back at when we were and laugh at it, where others really assign their ego to these particular ways of being, Right. Or it's kind of like the stoner culture. Like, okay, you like weed, but you have to wear a cannabis leaf on your shirt, and like, or people that are raw vegans, like they wear like a raw vegan shirt or something. Like, it's just crazy to me, because I feel that your dietary choices should be fueling kind of, your mission in life, not like be the mission in it, unless you're, of course, in the business of helping others through diet and nutrition, which like your company does or whatever. But for people who just don't make a living out of it, and they're just living just this culture of raw veganism or being a carnivore or whatever, it's just, I've never understood it.
Yeah. Yeah. Mother's Day was yesterday before this recording. We went out to dinner and I ate pretty keto. I just had like one slice of sourdough bread. Didn't have their fake butter just because I wasn't feeling like consuming canola oil or whatever. But I just had like
margarine is a superfood
invented in the 1920s.
Watch people listening to this actually go back margarine.
Yeah, don't eat margarine, please.
But yeah, it's a balance, right? I know, Will, you're practicing a lot with intermittent fasting right now, and whether it's like that or keto, it's like there's always this balancing act of like going out with family and friends and deciding to let loose, or to, if you have goals, to stick with it. And I mean, I'm trying to gain muscle and gain mass. So basically I feel like I don't have to fast, but I could just eat high fat and high protein all the time. But
yeah, everybody's so different. I mean, for me, what really has worked is just kind of a lower calorie diet, I mean, I think in the last 3 months I've lost probably over 70 pounds.
Wow. Because you were doing high carb, right? I kind of feel responsible for that.
I remember 3 years ago, I'm in Las Vegas with my ex-girlfriend, and I get a call from me, "Hey, pedo." I'm like, what are you talking about? Pedo? Like, you're misspelling keto. I thought it was like a misspelling, and you're telling me about Ray Pete, and it sounded really fascinating. But so I ordered a Mexican Coke at this high-end Mexican restaurant in Las Vegas, and my ex is like, "What are you doing? You're low carb, carnivore." I said, "Nope, I'm switching." Matt said it's fine. And I just feel a little dizzy like the rest of the day. And, I take a few shots. We're in Las Vegas, right? Stays in Vegas. What we do in Vegas stays in Vegas. But I kind of attribute it to being hungover. But for the next 8 months or so, I felt like this perpetual being hungover, I guess. But I don't know. Some people thrive on high carb, like Durian Rider. He's doing pretty good. I don't know if you guys remember that guy.
Yeah.
I used to watch all his videos.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I was up in Idaho, I was there for 2.5 years. I was slamming the potatoes because
I remember that.
Idaho is known for its potatoes and just doing lots of potatoes with butter and salt. And that's knowing what I know now with the Randall cycle. It's like we're mostly oxidizing either glucose or fatty acids. and we can't do both at once in large amounts. And so like potatoes and butter is like the worst possible combination because it's high starch and high fat. And I'd, lay on the butter. And so all that was just basically raising my blood. The glucose couldn't get into my cell. My blood glucose was just going up to pre-diabetic.
Think about a French fry at McDonald's right now. The millions of people trying to eat that. Because you're having like grass-fed butter or tallow fried organic. Is it the same
thing with like a fry, like a French fry with the fat and carbs? That's what makes it. That's why people are like, don't eat the fries. Is that why?
I think so. Yeah. Now when I go to a good like grass-fed burger place, like we're fortunate to have Burger Lounge here. Just get it, with the lettuce wrap, and I usually just get an iced tea. It's like a really good keto meal.
Oh yeah, a couple of lettuce wraps instead of one burger and fries. Yeah. But like, how many people actually have that kind of wisdom to look at a French fry as the mortal enemy? I mean, most people consider French fries as a staple, right? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. And if you want them every once in a while, it's probably healthy to like break your whatever and do it. I know Dave Asprey says that French fries are more harmful than tobacco or something.
Like, smoking cigarettes, the acrylamide. Is it the acrylamide or something?
I mean, like you said, I think breaking up your really healthy lifestyle with periods of toxic living actually makes your healthy living that much more effective. So like cheat days, cheat meals, cheat culture, cheat lifestyle,
right.
People are so dogmatic and it becomes a poison in and of itself. And I know you've been talking a lot about that on your social media of just like letting go and the psychosomatic aspect of your wellness, and people are just forgetting, to live life.
And maybe you are more than what you eat. You aren't what you eat. Like you're a being, right? You're a standalone being. You're not like, you aren't your diet.
You aren't a potato.
Yeah. You're not a potato. You're not a burger. Okay.
Yeah.
You're not a cup of orange juice. You're bigger than that.
Probably the single-handed most healthy thing people can do too is just cutting off the news, because I mean, that adds the cortisol and degrades our body.
Yeah, I've only been here a few weeks, and I've been talking. My neighbor's super nice. One of them I met, and he likes talking to me. And the other day, it was like last week, he's like, he started talking about all this prepping stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I've been into that for years. He's like, the Kremlin just had a couple drone attacks or something, or like there were 2 assassination attempts on Vladimir Putin. I'm like, oh, I haven't watched the news in like 20 years. I don't know what's going on.
Right. And I remember you told me that a few years ago. I mean, I was such a news junkie, like with the political cycle and like so entertaining with Trump and this and that, and people have their mixed opinions about him, but he's funny, whatever, But I think if the news isn't reaching you organically from a person running up to you and telling you something life-threatening that's going on and imminent, I think the news is really manufactured to black pill the population into being psychologically and therefore physiologically sicker, mind, body. So when people ask us at Bathing Evolve what we can do to decrease cortisol or whatever, I mean, it's really just cutting off the news and doing things like what Matt and David and I do, like YouTube Premium, like choose your own programming. We have that ability in today's world. It's not 1968 and we have to be force-fed Walter Cronkite telling us how to think, live, Choose your own programming, choose your own like entertaining things, choose podcasts like Mitolife Radio.
Or take a bath, right? Unplug and take a bath.
Take a bath, right?
Or going phone free, like, that's a tough one, right? To even leave your phone for an hour. It's like you start getting all itchy and like, oh, what's missing? There's something missing. Like just, and with the phone,
Apple's set to release what they say is the most addictive device yet. And Palmer Luckey, the founder of Oculus, just said, hey, this is going to change the world. And this is going to be in 2 weeks. It's going to be like this glasses VR thing. And people are not going to take that off. Like we're going to be completely merging with machines in just a few weeks. So I think it's going to really open up an opportunity for a subculture like what Matt is teaching people to do to really get back to nature. Because if you don't understand this now with the amount of programming and the amount of getting away from your own personal nature that these technological advances are taking us to. We have to understand how to connect to our own nature now
and know yourself and know yourself, right? Like, and what does that even mean? Know thyself, the old saying. But look at the world we're going into with artificial intelligence. And now, hey, we're all guilty of it, right? We're all using ChatGPT. We're all leveraging that, it is what it is. And you kind of step back and wonder, am I even thinking for myself anymore? It's going to, in the next 5 years, imagine that when the AI is probably 50 times better and you don't even have to think anymore. It's just doing everything for you. But then again, maybe that's a good thing because the intellect can be a double-edged sword. So maybe just getting into your feeling state and being heart-centered is maybe the future.
Yeah, maybe we will have more time for heart-centered things like having a relationship with our family or having better friendships or saying no to toxic relationships. That's something I've had to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember, David, I think we talked about this a couple years ago. You were telling me that the human brain is not built to remember a lot of things. It's not designed to store a lot of information, which is so counter to what you see on Instagram and social media, because there's this weird mentality that the more you can remember, the smarter you are. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't equal intelligence. That's just a robotic function of memorizing studies and stuff that means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And it's not even what the brain's made to do, right?
I think the concept is mental RAM, just like a computer that is handling too much in the moment. Our brains get bogged down. That's why when you write something down, you feel relief. If you're overwhelmed and stressed and you sit down and just write everything that's on your mind, you feel relief. And why is that? Because you're freeing up your mental RAM. You're able to be more in the moment. That's really interesting. If artificial intelligence can handle all the mental bullshit that we're worrying about, and we can just tune into the now and kind of be more in the moment, maybe it is a better thing. Maybe it's a better world potentially.
Yeah. I've been following the Neuralink thing pretty closely, and it's so interesting how people get so emotionally charged about that. Mm-hmm. And the meme is Elon Musk wants to chip us all, and it's well, they're marketing it to paraplegics mm-hmm. and people with those issues where they can't move limbs and different mm-hmm. things. Mm-hmm. And who knows, it's you're not going to come to just like with the jabs, they didn't go door to door to make us do it. You could have moved to a state like Idaho where mm-hmm. I didn't have to mask for a couple of years anywhere. Mm-hmm. There's always a choice. There has mm-hmm. been thus far. So I doubt they're going to come to your door and say, you have to put this chip in your brain. I don't know. It's
you're right.
Pretty far off.
But what you're doing with Mitolife, you're giving people supplements for the hardware, right? The brain. If you don't have vitamin E in your system, right? And you are fibrotic, that's the proper way. If you're full of fibrosis and you're stiff and you have scar tissue everywhere, that's a messed up hard drive. It's a messed up piece of hardware. It's so fundamental to fix your hardware. And then what we're talking about, stay away from the news, kind of treat your mental space more sacredly.
Yeah. And then you add kind of moving into Bathing Evolve, mm-hmm. you add stress to that. Doesn't stress turn off the prefrontal cortex or different parts of the brain?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. People are chronically stressed out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been reading this book called The Power of Full Engagement. A really, really fascinating book about how elite Olympic athletes train and rest. And the main mantra of the book, the main focus is that you need to treat your recovery as intensely as your training. And a lot of people generally in our society, they think, I need more time. I need to do better with time management. But they argue that it's energy management. If you manage your energy properly in waves of activity and rest, and if you're really strategic with that, you can really maximize your activities. For example, splitting up your week in 2 days or 3 days of really intense work and then 2 days of not doing much work is more efficient than 5 days of just burning out.
Makes sense. Yeah, I remember I used to go with my friend to Gold's Gym for like years and like spend at least minimum 2 hours in their outdoor gym.
Wow.
And I saw zero results. And then now, you know, when I was doing my crazy almond raw experiment and like deadlifting every day, I only spent half an hour a day exercising, not 2 hours. I looked like the Hulk. Mm-hmm. And then now I'm spending like 10 minutes a day with the X3 and like
better results.
I'm getting crazy quick results. Wow. So just with that small input.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I think Western society is built on people that like to brag about their success and exaggerate the work they put into being successful as a way to deter competition. Like we were watching a video on this guy talking about the exercise routine of Arnold Schwarzenegger, how like the whole like unlimited rep thing and getting the pump at the gym is just based on pure bullshit.
Well, that documentary, remember the, what was it called? Pumping Iron?
Mm-hmm.
Was that the name of it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I saw some video or some guy was talking about how he was really embellishing his routine to sell Hollywood on the idea of him like becoming a movie star. But he didn't work out as much as he claimed he did. Like he wasn't in there for like 5 hours a day. Like,
interesting. Yeah. And for the listeners, they're film directors. They made a lot of great short films that were really funny and entertaining. So
we are.
Yeah, we've made some interesting ones. One was called Locked in Stone. It's a interesting slice of life in Barstow, California. Check it out, Locked in Stone. But you know, back to like just stress and like me time and bathing. You know, in general, I think in today's world, we all need to be really strategic about our recovery and just kind of disengaging from the chaos of the world. People do that with like social media and like technology, but really unplugging is key to, you know, actually experience boredom. I know it sounds crazy, like boredom is a good thing, but boredom actually resets the brain and allows you to be more creative.
That's our most poorly producing piece of content.
Yeah.
Like that boredom is cool.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. We got the least amount of likes on that.
Yeah. We lost 1,000 followers from that like post.
Yeah. I think you guys introduced me to the Cal Newport digital minimalism book. And
yeah.
Hopefully I didn't lose that in the move. I brought some, but yeah, like up in Idaho, I had a hiking trail from my house. So gonna have to find something new like that here, but I would never have AirPods in. I would always just listen to the bird chirps and, you know, the nature sounds. And I noticed like hiking, especially, you know, when I used to hike here in San Diego, 90% of people would be wearing headphones. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't think they had AirPods back then. It was like headphones, walking around in nature and always listening to something and always engaged. And I think that's a really powerful message you guys are sharing, like unplug, and whether it's keeping your phone in airplane mode in your pocket while you're sitting there with your girlfriend or boyfriend at lunch or dinner or your family, that's probably the most important thing, right? To unplug while you're connecting with your loved ones. Because I see a lot of people, you know, you look at a restaurant and they're just like across from each other.
Oh God. Or like infants, right? With an iPad 2 inches away from their eyes. Like that's how they're engaging with the world. Like,
yeah,
it's a screen.
Or like you see couples at a restaurant and they're like both on their phones, not even communicating. They're just like,
they're DMing each other in the restaurant. It's like, what?
But yeah, I mean, it's not easy because we have great, we have the whole world in our pocket, right?
I mean, it's Steve Jobs' dream, right? He didn't even let his own kids have screens growing up, but we're all supposed to have screens, and everything we type and input on these devices, we're supposed to think that it's not recording everything we do on it. I mean, why not, right? We can access other computers easily from, you know, remotely.
Eagle eye.
Yeah.
So it's pretty scary. We probably live in a police state, but that's fine. Just shrug your shoulders and eat superfood chocolate and accept it.
It's funny now that can't you buy those locks for your phone, the lock boxes that have a timer on it, and then now there's apps that lock your apps or whatever, where you can't access them. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like I don't need that. And I attribute that to taking supplements. I know like Dave Asprey has been marketing his new book as like willpower or something, or like really focusing on, having enough willpower to, or maybe it was this previous book, I can't remember, but basically having enough willpower to resist different things. And that's due to like your mitochondrial energy production or whatever. I think it's, your nutrient status, vitamins, minerals, how well your enzyme pathways are functioning. But I've noticed like, I don't need that lockbox. I don't need to click that Instagram app for hours and I forget where my phone is. I think that's a sign that you're doing good, right? If you forget where you put your phone, you're not like stressing out.
This was like 3 months ago. I did an experiment. I removed like the web browser from my phone, and I removed all social media and like my email apps. I removed pretty much everything except texting and phone calls. And it was pretty rough the first 2 days. Like, at the time, Will and I were doing this, actually the Scientology niacin detox, which is pretty intense, but, felt pretty good after that. But I did 21 days of that. So I started doing that and I had nothing on my phone. So I would go into the sauna and just sit there in the dark and like do nothing. And it got pretty rough. It was like, geez, it's just me and my thoughts, right? There's just nothing to do. But what I brought back all the apps and everything eventually. But what I kind of realized is I really personally like to learn all the time. I'm just naturally curious. And I was like, okay, I could sit in the sauna and do nothing, or I could like listen to a podcast and like learn, or like watch a YouTube video and like kind of grow. So, you got to find that balance of like technology and me time. We get a lot of emails from mothers with kids, and Mother's Day just came. It was yesterday, right? Yeah, Mother's Day. And they have it. I mean, they have the hardest job in the world when you think about it, like raising kids, raising the future. Yeah.
We talk to them all the time, just, hearing what they're going through. It's a day-to-day battle.
It's a grind. It's like they are like athletes because there's no turning it off. They're always on the go, thinking about their kids, worrying about their kids. And, we just get emails about the need to escape, and like the bath time is great me time just to escape and unplug. And
we have to get into that. I don't know how far are we into recording, like 45 minutes, but let's start talking about Bathing Evolved because
so Bathing Evolved is it really started off when I was in grad school, getting my MBA at Babson College, and thinking about what I was going to do next. And I just started. I'm one of the rare men that love bathing. I know like Tom Ford, and there's interesting stories about him. He's a famous fashion designer. I think he takes like 6 baths a day, like really extreme bather. But I was kind of interested in the idea of how to get more men to bathe. So I would experiment on myself on using different supplements and different innovations in these bath soaks that I'd personally use, and sharing it with friends and family. And they just would feel these nootropic kind of heightened effects from these mixtures. And, I decided last year to with Matt's encouragement over sushi, at The Joint, our favorite restaurant. We always reconvene at least once a year. Wherever we are, we have to reconvene
more often now that I live here.
Yeah, more often, I'm kind of like still in amazement. Matt's back, But he was like, hey, you guys should really go for it. That's a cool idea. It really brings value to people. So that's
shout out. I wouldn't have started Mitolife without you guys over the countless cigar chats. I forget how many years ago that was. It was when I was renting out our friend Sarah's RV, Sarah and Rich's RV.
Yeah.
Chula Vista.
So, Matt, David, and I, we've always helped each other, just.
That's how great things start, right? It's just like, it's a seemingly normal moment, but it's like a catalyst for, something.
Planting the seed.
Yeah. Seriously. Planting the seeds. And
so bathing evolved. We believe that it's the most powerful, innovative, empowering bath. So if anybody has any other innovation, features we can add, we'll add it. But from the micronized zeolites that are mixed into everything that we do that detoxify the water for people that don't have water filters, everybody should have a water filter. Look into Mitolife's great water filter.
Yeah, I like that you guys thought about that, the tap water, because I'm thinking about working on some type of bath filter, but they're almost like a placebo, feel good thing. Those little bath ball filters, they don't do anything really. You really need a whole house filter, but if someone doesn't, if they rent, they don't own their house. Yeah, it's expensive.
So the powdered zeolite is really cool, and
all of our products have zeolite in it. So they actually use zeolite in city sewage to purify sewage.
So if you're bathing in sewage, you're good.
Yeah. If you're ever at the sewer and you want to take a bath, no.
But it's the powdered zeolite. A lot of people sell the liquid zeolite droppers, which we don't recommend. They're complete.
You're talking about the nano, like the MLM
Yeah, it's just
stuff?
complete BS.
Well, yeah, it's like, everyone has their own thing, but you can't break down the structure of zeolite. It's powder and water. You're better off taking the powder, in our opinion.
So I believe our products are 1% by weight, 1 to 2% by weight, powdered zeolite. So when you're dissolving this bath bomb, it's dispersing, it's catching, random crap that they...
It's like a cage structure, right? At the molecular level.
Oh yeah.
Does it bind to what? Chlorine and
to positively charged stuff like chlorine?
Wow.
It'll bind to heavy metals and there's study. We actually have a link on our product page on all the products. They use zeolite to actually purify sewage. It's that effective. They even used it in Chernobyl. They threw it in the rivers and the natural water.
Kids eat zeolite cookies. And
so our idea was, let's throw it in all of our products, our bath salts and our bath bombs to create a self-purifying formula. Because tap water is an issue. If you have this amazing bath, but then you're bathing at a hotel in tap water.
Plus ascorbic acid, we put that in as well, which bonds to chlorine.
Wow. Yeah, I pulled up the study from your website.
Yeah.
Margetta, natural zeolites and water treatment. And then I like this line, iron and manganese removal levels are between 22 and 90% and 61 and 100% for a natural zeolite, clinoptilolite. That's incredible because manganese and iron are a big overlooked thing in tap water. You get manganese poisoning. You can get, if someone has hereditary hemochromatosis and they already hold on to iron, bathing in iron is not a good idea. So to actually lower those isn't really good.
Yeah. So if you're just taking your standard bath bomb or bath soak, just magnesium flakes, you're ignoring what the other stuff you're soaking in. So that's why it's the foundation of what we talk about on the product page.
Self-purifying formula.
It has to be that first, whether, and most people just don't have the means for total house water filtration. So that's the foundation of any good bath. Otherwise you're really wasting your time.
Well, it's funny because up in Idaho, you guys sent me, I think it was your original product. Was it the Revival, I think?
Yeah.
And I had an interesting history with keeping goats. I documented, I had 3 goats that I kept mostly by myself for 2 years.
Yeah.
Rosie.
Interesting winter experiences, middle of the winter, major snow, wrestling my buck. That's 3 times my size.
Wow.
But you guys sent it during that time in my life, and I was getting close to a gallon of raw goat milk a day. And I was so remote that I couldn't even give it away because my neighbors didn't like it. So I was kind of forced to bathe in it. And so I was taking every like 2 days I was taking raw goat milk baths, usually 3 to 4 gallons at a time.
That's pretty epic.
And I think I tried mixing it with your stuff in a foot bath and it smelled horrible. There's just some reaction that happened with raw goat milk in your product. I think it might have been the baking soda that didn't go with it, but it just like made me gag. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to take a full bath with this. And so because I was trying to keep up with the goat milk, I only used your product a few times, but I was really skeptical. Like, I support you guys, obviously. I was like, oh, this is interesting. But I was like, I don't think this is going to work. You know, transdermal amino acids. And I put, so it was my Lodestone bathtub up there. I put, I think 5 or 6 bags and then like 3 of the bath bombs in there. And I felt a crazy surge. I actually had insomnia that night and I was not expecting it because I didn't, I had coffee at like 9 a.m. It was like really early when I had caffeine and I was wired. Like I felt like I could just stay up all night and I was not expecting
not like
that.
Jittery, like an inspired
Yeah, I wasn't
kind
jittery. Right. Yeah. I felt like super creative and like,
one theory is combining the carbonation with the minerals. That's kind of like what we're kind of connecting a lot of dots. A lot of our products are inspired by, Mark Sloan, his work, bath bombs and balneotherapy. Like the genius of combining, like mirroring a mineral hot spring with the carbonation, the heat, and then the minerals all combined. Because usually, people they do their bath bomb, but they're not really mineralizing. So,
or they're taking a bath bomb with obesogens and crazy like endocrine disruptors,
synthetic hormones,
which are amplified by the carbonated effect. So you're just dissolving your ability to be fertile, like from these things. And it's sad, right? Because a lot of women are literally like Lush or Bath and Body Works. These companies are, have serious side effects from using them more than a couple times a year. And a lot of our customers are trying to, they love bathing, but they're trying to find an alternative for that.
Yeah, you made a great video, Will, on obesogens. I'd never heard that term. And I like that you guys stay open. You had Kitty Blomfield, or you were on her podcast. And I think you guys changed one of the oils. Was it eucalyptus, I think? Or
it was the tea tree.
The tea tree, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, tea tree, turns out some studies were done on its it causing estrogenic effects, like causing man boobs.
But I do wonder, like with all these studies, like a lot of the fear stuff, like with stevia, we were talking about that earlier with, anti-fertility effects of, the pro-sugar people emphasize that. But it's like the dose and the frequency. I wonder in those studies with tea tree, are they like bathing in gallons of it or consuming a ton of it? Like what is the dose to... I wonder if it's that big of a deal, but I guess if someone was using Bathing Evolved every day, maybe I just wanted to be careful.
That's a good point.
It kind of opened up our eyes on exploring the most androgenically positive and empowering oils. So like pine tree oil is really good for you.
Yeah,
so
that's like the sperm, right? The pine,
it's like
pollen.
The essence of a pine tree. So that's actually in our
Revival X. Yeah, we had originally tea tree, peppermint, and rosemary. And, we actually had a good talk with Kitty Blomfield. And they have a company, Satchery. They have great cosmetic products that are really pure and, there's no fillers at all. But we were really inspired. I mean, we were really open to the idea that, hey, let's make the product better. Let's see if, and I went down the rabbit hole of like essential oils and hormones. And, I did find studies on lavender and tea tree. And Matt, you bring up a really good point. It's context usually. Like you're not bathing in a swimming pool full of tea tree or lavender. You're not like bathing in lavender oil. But
I loved it personally. Like it might have been the dose that I put in there. I think again it was like 5 or 6 bags, but it completely cleared up my sinuses. Like I'm prone to nasal congestion, even with just a glass of milk here and there, I'll just get stuffed up. And so things like halotherapy, like inhaling micronized salt is really good for me. I remember growing up, just always have a runny nose, stuffy nose, just weird sinus stuff. So, yeah, it filled the room with the tea tree gas and it just drained my sinuses. It felt really good.
Wow.
That was like a side benefit I wasn't expecting.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what we're really passionate about right now too. Like David said, most of our customers are moms who need me time, and they're taking Bathing Evolve to just reset themselves. And we're really passionate about these moms who are already going through so much. Most of them are not taking Bathing Evolved, obviously, and they're taking bath soaks that they're bathing in bath bombs and bath soaks, using bath and body products that are really damaging to their fertility, damaging their mood, and therefore damaging an entire generation of children from thriving, because these moms are just always snapping and just like in a certain mood and having to take SSRIs to balance themselves out. And these baths can be extremely damaging. They can either be extremely empowering or extremely health destroying, and that's why we wanted to start Bathing Evolved as well, because it's just
we couldn't find a pure, you can find a pure bath product. Like you can go buy, a tub of magnesium flakes. But we really wanted to put everything we could think of that could just make it like an optimized super bath, where you're not like, we're not messing around here. Like you have the minerals, you have the carbonation, you have the CO2 benefits, the circulation, the vitamins, the B3, the vitamin C, like the self-purifying formula. Like
made
we're
in
really
the United States.
Yeah.
It's
made in
not
the
like
USA.
made in China or something.
Well, it's good too if you want to switch it up, because I get bored. Like if I do a meditation app with my headphones and eye mask, I like to do different things. If I do the same one every time, same thing with the bath, like mega dosing magnesium. Like I like dumping 20 pounds in the bath or whatever of the mag chloride from like Ancient Minerals, or brand like that. But I would like to alternate and do like a zeolite Shilajit bath, like you guys have Revival X, and do these different style baths. Have an Amino one, have a Shilajit one.
Even if you're doing the 20 pounds of magnesium in your bath, like throwing a renewal bath bomb in there to carbonate that experience to just make it that much more effective for you. Because the bath bombs out there are just loaded with things you don't want carbonated, and especially the fact that our renewal bath bombs have the powdered zeolite to protect you from, well, you don't need to worry about that, Matt, because your house is like...
Yeah. Matt has the best water ever.
Almost. It's a few days away.
It's a few days away. But the renewal bath bombs will protect your skin and protect your endocrine system from whatever you'd be bathing in otherwise. If you can't afford, or you don't have the whole house filtration yet, and you're depending, and a lot of these moms are bathing their kids in this stuff, it's dangerous. It can cause real issues in children. A lot of moms we know have a nightly ritual. That's how, they're toddlers. They clean their toddlers before bed or whatever with baths. And, it could be stunting their growth, causing neurological issues.
And you guys put boron in there, right? Sodium borate.
Yeah, boron is one that we're really excited by, because there's a few studies. I don't know. There needs to be more studies on it, but from the effects I feel and from the effects that our customers feel, there's definitely an androgenic aspect to bathing in boron that's really cool. Like it magnifies. I think the study was done in Iran. We're actually half Persian.
And it also helps uptake the magnesium, right?
Yeah. And it modulates like estrogen, testosterone, and vitamin D usage in the body. Yeah, the study I pulled up here, nothing boring about boron. That's a really good one. Wound healing, bone growth.
And another thing we're adding is our fat-soluble benfotiamine addition, which magnifies your ability to uptake magnesium that much better.
B1.
So that was actually inspired by your guest, Elliot Overton. He's great. He's like the king of like B1.
Yeah, before
YouTube.
we were recording, we were just looking at my carnivorous plant book, Savage Garden.
Yeah.
We didn't know, I didn't know you can give B1 to plants.
Yeah. And what's crazy about plants is that's the first thing they go to in their reserves to deal with stress. So if they know you're going to cut them or whatever, the thiamine activates in them to retract or do whatever they do to calm down. And thiamine is really our anti-stress. It's the core B vitamin that's really overlooked. And it's actually helped me to drop a lot of my weight and to get over a lot of the stresses this year.
You megadosed it, right? Or?
Yeah, I megadosed the fat soluble version, the benfotiamine, because I think I was really low. Mm-hmm. But I think Elliot went over this on your podcast, how essential B1 is in the conversion of carbohydrates to usable glucose, and how without adequate levels of thiamine, it's just, carbohydrates floating around your blood or whatever, just causing a horror show. So,
I called the show The Energy Gatekeeper, because he said it's the first step, the first nutrient required in the energy generation process.
Oh yeah. So the fat soluble has been what I was really using to help me not be so carb phobic. I mean, I'm low carb still, but I've been extremely low carb in the past, like carnivore diet, the whole Sean Baker thing, which is great, but there's drawbacks with that diet. I mean, come on. But now we fuse the benfotiamine into all of our products to just help you to manifest more magnesium uptake, because it turns out there's a synergistic effect with the B1,
Wow. Yeah, I'm excited to try. In the next couple of days, I should have my whole house filter, the flow motion system set up, because unfortunately I went from spring to municipal sourced water. So it's very harsh, like very hard, insane trihalomethanes and all this stuff. But I'm definitely going to do the Revival X with Shilajit and zeolite, and then the Revival. I really like the combo of the Revival bath soak with the Renewal bath bomb. That was really powerful.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to do it. The perfect bath.
Yeah. When I travel, I bring them with me. So every time I do it, I feel it. I feel like I'm really like chilled out, like anywhere. And I took it to Vegas like a month or so ago, and they have a really nice bathtub at the Wynn. But yeah, it's just great. We're always looking to improve it, and that's why we're so inspired by Matt and what you do, because it's this like constant hunger for truth seeking and like trying to grow and like learn new things. Like you either have it or you don't. You're always like, Will and I also are always looking for ways to improve the product, and
Yeah, some people look at that as like a weakness, like, oh, the product wasn't good before or whatever. But
those same people would still be driving a Model T, right? Like, oh, what do you mean that wasn't good enough? It's like, no, dude, like there's incremental improvements to life. That's what's innovation and what made society
But to have the courage, right? The courage to backtrack, right? Like you recently kind of shifting more keto than, high carb. That's like, hey, if something isn't working, it's not working. Like it is what it is. Like, on a smaller level, us with the tea tree oil, like, okay, hey, pine is actually a better upgrade. Pine is, in our opinion, I think it's a really cool and functional essential oil. It's really
or have different versions. I'm starting to see kind of like the extremism towards like, estrogen is always evil or whatever, and all these mentalities. Maybe someone has low estrogen. Maybe a man has low estrogen. Who knows? Everyone's so individual that just to make these blanket like health claims, I think. I mean, if you have if your testosterone is like 2,000, that's going to cause some issues. So you have to, not saying take estrogen, but it's like,
that's true.
There's a balance. But you guys came out with thyroid too, which is cool to see you getting into like encapsulated supplements. And that's something I played with for years, like the desiccated organs, because I personally don't like eating raw organs, like the actual thing. And I don't think it's necessary for proper health personally. I did do a lot of raw liver just like frozen and thawed out into like cubes. And I did feel something from that, but again, I don't think it's necessary to be healthy. But I think, encapsulated products are so convenient and can help a lot of people, especially if they've had a trash metabolism for most of their life and just been eating fast food, and something like this could really help to kind of reset their system.
Yeah, I think for the thyroid, like if you feel like you are kind of like, if you feel that like hypothyroid symptoms, it's a really good product to look into. And I personally have been taking it alongside pregnenolone. And my daily stack, so I took a break from coffee like 2 months ago. I have coffee every now and then, like maybe every week or so, but I've been taking L-tyrosine.
Staring at David like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Now we're obsessed with coffee.
No, I love coffee, and I'm going to return to it eventually, but I would stack tyrosine, pregnenolone, and the thyroid. It's been like my morning stack to kind of like get going. But Matt has an amazing coffee setup. I'm sure all of you see his stories, you know, with the amazing like 80s music in the background. He's like, he has a great like,
my dad brought that up. I was like, what is he doing?
I took a break from that in the move, but
yeah, I kind of miss it. It was like my morning routine.
Like, where's the coffee pouring?
You know, like pouring the coffee with like a quote or like a study. It's great. And he has a great setup, like roasting his own beans, and it's hardcore.
Yeah,
like
while he was roasting coffee beans for us before the podcast, I thought Jen was making cookies. I was like, what the hell? Like, it smelled like, you know, those cookies you walk by at the mall or something. I was like,
yeah, you know, they both had a espresso, you know, double espresso, and I was like, I quit, and I was like tearing up, like watching this amazing routine.
I'll make you a shot at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like on your website how you have studies on every product page. I like to do that also. And yeah, with the thyroid one, you have one desiccated thyroid extract compared to levothyroxine in the treatment of hypothyroidism, randomized double-blind crossover study. And it says desiccated thyroid caused modest weight loss, and benefited hypothyroid patients basically.
Yeah. So there's good like metabolic benefits, and it's a really pure grass-fed raw thyroid from New Zealand. So it's great quality.
Are you guys working on other encapsulated products right now? You don't have to disclose which ones, but
we're, you know, so the thyroid is with our new company, Evolved Elements. It's gonna kind of house our like non-bath related products like supplements and different things, but we're looking into like brain neurotransmitter health. So it's kind of my personal passion, just like finding brain balance naturally without, you know, needing stimulants.
Yeah, you were telling us about your tyrosine. Are they 500 milligram capsules, and you take 2 as a coffee replacement and then sometimes 4? Or
yeah. So a few months ago, I mean, I was a heavy coffee drinker. I would drink like, you know, a double espresso in the morning, and then I would sometimes feel a crash and need more in the afternoon. And I've quit coffee in the past, so I know the protocol. I know the you know, the routine. So what I did, I would start my morning with 2 grams of tyrosine. That's my personal dose. But a good rule of thumb is start with 500 milligrams, like one capsule, 500 milligrams, see how you feel. If you still feel that need for coffee, take another one, and then keep microdosing up until you feel like you've had your coffee fix, and then go on with your day. And if you feel a crash, take more, take another 500. You can take a few grams of tyrosine. It's no big deal.
Wow. Yeah, I made a video years ago when I was living in the RV on tyrosine and ultraviolet light or sunlight, because tyrosine's an aromatic amino acid like phenylalanine and tryptophan, where they react with ultraviolet light to convert, like for tyrosine to levodopa, and then levodopa to dopamine.
Wow.
And so I was doing like a dopamine video, like take tyrosine, basically go outside. And I didn't say sun gaze, but just get sun in your naked eyes without glasses or contacts. And since moving from the far northern latitude, down to pretty much the subtropics, desert, Southern California, I've noticed my sleep, I'm just a lot more tired at night just because just the ambient light is higher. And I've been watching sunsets, every couple of days, which is nice. But the combination of getting the light in your naked eye with tyrosine, there's definitely a powerful synergy there too.
Wow. Yeah, that's I got to try that. Got to be more outdoors, and but yeah, tyrosine is really it's really powerful. I mean, if a lot of people don't want to quit coffee, it's my personal choice, but you can actually use it to mitigate the crashing effects of caffeine too. So you can take it with your coffee.
I think same thing with B1, right? I think, Will, you pointed that out, that was it coffee drinkers and alcoholics have low vitamin B1, thiamine?
And high sugar eaters, high carbohydrate, because they all deplete B1.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't alcohol treated by your body as like a super carbohydrate, just shooting through your body? So a lot of these, and it's especially a big problem in San Diego, being the highest per capita per person drinking capital of the country, maybe the world. We drink more than 2 times Washington, D.C., which is second. So everybody drinks here. Happy hours. There's beers on tap at like work. Like I know people that like engineers that would have like they'd be on their 3rd beer at 10 in the morning. Like it's crazy. Like
wow,
the amount. But people, they get sick, and there's so many Alcoholic Anonymous groups and things like that. People, and I always tell them all like, dude, just up your B1. Like it's $10 at Sprouts. And I'm like, what were you talking about?
It's funny. Speaking of like B vitamin, like B1 is key, right, for alcoholism and
any addiction.
Yeah, any addiction.
Matt, I'll tell you this. This is really crazy, and you know how much we love cigars. Like we all 3 of us got into cigars together.
Yeah. So when was it? Like probably 2016. We all like kind of got into cigars, and it became a great pastime to go, hey, let's go grab a cigar. But wasn't it it was the niacin, the B3 niacin detox that we did. We did around the same time, like 21 days, an hour in the sauna every day. Like, we learned there's like a newer protocol where you take the B3, because there's the guy that was on the Longevity Now, I think it was Mercola. I think Mercola talked about take the niacin, get on the rebounder, and get in the sauna. But what you need to actually do is you need to factor in they call it I think it's the niacin lipolysis effect, where you take niacin, you need to time it between 2 and 3 hours after the niacin. That's when all of your fat gets dilated. It's 2 hours in, not immediately. But anyways, long story short, our cravings or desire for cigars are like, they vanished. Like I'll smoke a cigar every now and then, but we used to smoke 1 or 2 or a few a week. Like, hey, let's go smoke a cigar.
In January, I was smoking 2 a day. Like
I did read a study that up to 2 a day doesn't increase all-cause mortality.
Oh no, totally. Like, and I was enjoying it. I wasn't looking to quit it, but like the instinctual urge to drive to a cigar lounge and hang out there for 2, like it disappeared. It was the strangest thing with my niacin detox
with no intention of doing that.
That's great.
Increase.
But do you think it's the nicotinamide that, what is it? They're similar, like B3.
Nicotinamide there's a
tobacco has similar compounds as the B3.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff to it. Like tobacco mimics acetylcholine in the brain. I like it because it's an anti-parasitic. Like whenever I go out to eat, I just instinctually like pairing it with a cigar just to kind of like a cleanse.
Yeah.
I also think there's like a spiritual cleanse effect, but my main concern with smoking cigars and tobacco in general is the oxidative stress that depletes vitamin C, vitamin E, also glutathione, but you need vitamin C to make glutathione. So I don't think it's necessary to take glutathione in most cases, but it basically increases your vitamin C requirements and your vitamin E requirements. both, because those are like your frontline defense against oxidative stress. Having basically smoke not entering your lungs, maybe some of it, but even just your mucous membranes, where smoke's not designed to be interacting there.
And even the teeth, right? Just making sure you like clean your teeth afterwards.
Yeah. Oftentimes I'll brush my teeth right after with my Sonicare toothbrush.
Yeah, that's a good point, because like
I use cigars with built-in toothbrushes. Like,
I mean, one strategy too is like I just like with Mitolife filtered water, since I use magnesium. Corsex is the remineralization media. You have multiple different forms of magnesium in the product water, and one of those is magnesium bicarbonate reacting, because it's magnesium hydroxide in the filter reacting with some carbonic acid, and that'll make bicarbonate. So that's super alkaline. So just swishing with like Mitolife water or something like that will help a lot too. So I do that in between draws.
What do you, I mean, as far as like bathing in Shilajit, because you honestly got us into that. You said, hey, bathing in Shilajit, and we really we're super inspired by that. But what is it? Is it the acidic minerals? It's it's an acid bath?
Yeah, the fulvic acid is like a driver for the minerals, and then Shilajit contains 84 plus. It's pretty much the whole periodic table. There's people freak out about because there are some metals in there, but they're bound to fulvic acid, and so you're not getting heavy metal poisoning, especially if it's purified Shilajit, like what you guys use. But yeah, I look at bathing as partly as a hydration phenomenon. Like I think a lot of people are just dehydrated chronically because they're not, maybe if they're keto, they're not consuming enough sodium, or, they just think electrolyte drinks are extra, or they're drinking ones with sugar, or like liquid IV at Costco or whatever. That's increasing their electrolyte requirements.
Right.
So I think a bath is a great quick way to hydrate and remineralize the body, especially if you can get filtered water. Like if someone's on a well, they don't have to get a $10,000 system like I got. They can use something like the Vicwa, or basically, sediment GAC. It's called granulated activated carbon. But just sediment and carbon alone does a lot. It's just people think like they have this idea like, oh, it has to be DI and it has to be remineralized and all this stuff. No, if you just have a basic setup, I just wouldn't get like a shower filter or a hose filter, because a garden hose filter, because those aren't going to do much. But I'm talking like a 3-stage 20-inch canister, 3 20-inch canisters, sediment, carbon, that'll do something. And, a couple grand, plus the install with a plumber, and then you have filtered bathing water. I think it's worth it. I just think people's priorities are so off, especially when they own a house. It's like they've lived in a house for 20, 30 years and they're still on municipal water. It just doesn't make sense. Especially like the guy here drove a Tesla and like 20 years on municipal hard water, where it's literally caking up and crusting every faucet, and things are brittle and cracking.
That's
right. Didn't he have arthritis or something? He had some health issues. You're saying like, or he was like older, right?
Yeah.
It seems like the tap water is like it's kind of like the step one in a health journey. Like look at the water you drink. That's what's so key about your filter, right? It's like if you just drink filtered the right water, you're ahead of the game, even beyond your diet. Like you can even eat Chipotle every day. If you're drinking the best water, it's game changer. And what are we, 80% water? So
I think so. Yeah. Some people say 99%, by.
Wow. Oh, maybe that's the planet. Planet Earth is. I think somebody. Yeah, I probably read that once. Like we're like the planet. We're we're like Earth. We're 80% water.
But yeah, super important. So, well, this was fun, guys. I'm sure it won't be our last. Bathingevolve.com, and then I'm guessing you'll have another website soon with the supplements, or
yeah, eventually we're working on evolvedelements.com, but for now we have the Thyroid and some other products coming out soon. So yeah.
Great. Yeah. And I recommend people, similar to Mitolife, they use the same lead dyno, their affiliate program. Because I think years ago, when I was living with my parents and working 3 jobs and stressed out and just making minimum wage, I thought that was how life was going to be for the rest of my life. And then I discovered MLMs, multi-level marketing companies, and paid $1,000 to join one, green powder one, 10-day transformation cleanse.
Purium?
One.
We did Purium with you. Is it down there?
Yeah. And I thought that was the way, like, okay, I'm going to own my business and whatever. And then I discovered the actual way to start making money if you don't have your own brand and stuff is just to use products that you believe in and that you like. And then you don't have to spend $1,000 to buy in, and you just go to the bottom, like on their website or mine, click partner program or affiliate program. And it's just literally 1 minute. And then you have a revenue stream that just opened up, especially if you know how to talk about the product, if you have an audience, if you have friends and family, and it doesn't cost them anything and they save money. It's like a win-win-win. You earn money, they save money. And people have literally paid their mortgages off of Mitolife commissions. So it's something that can literally build a family if you do this, like with
Bob Linville. He's doing great. I love that guy.
Yeah. Shout out to Bob.
He's listening
Bob's
right
great.
now.
Yeah. We offer a 15% discount and 10% commission on top of that. So it's pretty generous.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. Well, yeah. If people want to know where to start, I would recommend the Perfect Bath bundle. They have one for $150, and you have scented and unscented.
Yeah. So all our products, we offer a scented version or an unscented for people that, want a different experience.
Awesome.
So you guys can go to Bathing Evolved, enter in Matt's promo code
Blackburn.
Yeah, and you can
get a big discount. So
4 perfect baths for $128 shipped if you're in the US, right?
Free shipping as well.
Yeah, and if you spend over $99, it's free shipping.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, I'm surprised this was our first show, but I guess we were in different states the last couple of years.
I know.
We'll have to do our next one over a cigar. All this talk about cigars.
That'd be great. Yeah, we actually spent, I think, probably 30 minutes setting up my new in-studio setup here with the headsets. And they schooled me on, we're on Logic Pro instead of GarageBand on the Mac. So.
Oh, Logic Pro. That's the, you're a pro now, dude.
Awesome. Well, Dave and Will, this was a lot of fun.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much. That was the most fun I've had in a long time recording a show. Always like talking to them. And check out their website, bathingevolved.com. Highly recommend starting with the Perfect Bath. So you get the combination of the amino acids in their bath salts, and then the bath bomb, which is really concentrated with carbon dioxide, the CO2. And it bubbles for about 20 minutes. I think it's the record of any bath bomb on the market today. And I thought their reasoning behind adding zeolite for bathing in tap water was really interesting. That's definitely going to help, especially when there's some ascorbic acid involved to help neutralize some of that chlorine. These are really well thought out products, and I like that they're always evolving with their formulations. That's the same way that I am with Mitolife. So if you use the discount code Blackburn on their website, you'll save 15%, and highly recommend trying all of their products. They're all really great. My website is matt-blackburn.com. You could read my CLF protocol, calcification, lipofuscin, and fibrosis. 3 accumulations in the body that contribute to pretty much every chronic disease and accelerated aging. So I share what I believe the solutions are to each of those on that page. And then if you click on shop, you can see all of my recommended products. These are products that I have used over the years, mostly am using. Recently, I'm getting back into earth runners now that we're heading into warmer weather. There's certain months where it's just a lot more comfortable to be barefoot and have your feet exposed to the open air to stay cool. And my favorite shoes for that are the grounded sandals from Earth Runners. And it's really interesting. They're conductive laces. And then on the bottom, there's copper. So you have direct contact with the earth electrically. And that's especially good if you're on a hike away from population dense areas. That's the ideal time to ground, whether it's with shoes or with a grounding sheet, like when you're camping. But it's so individual with grounding. And a lot of the benefit is just that discharge effect from that millisecond of grounding. I used to walk around when I was really into it, and it was kind of neurotic, but grab onto plants intermittently as I was walking around in between my college courses. Maybe it was all in my head, but I did feel more grounded doing that. I also added to the website dirty electricity filters from GreenWave. I've been using different brands over the years, and what's interesting with this one is that they added a outlet, a 3-prong plug on the bottom of each filter, which is great because you don't lose an outlet. And sometimes those are limited in a place that you're living. And so just to lose one in each part of the wall is a big deal. So this way you don't. And how I configure it, if I have a lot of things plugged into one outlet, I'll use a power strip with a surge protector and the GreenWave plugged into the last outlet on the power strip. So that way, maybe you just lose one because there's kind of this space above the filter that sometimes gets taken up. The more square footage you have, the more filters you need. So I think GreenWave recommends one filter per 100 square feet on average, but it really depends population density of your area, if you're on solar, if you're grid tied versus off grid. I've experimented with these filters off grid and it didn't work too well. So if you have a different setup going on with solar panels or with batteries, inverters, and charge controllers like I did, definitely talk to an electrician first before you just start willy-nilly plugging these in. But if you're on grid, there's nothing to fear. Just get one of their measuring devices, which if you're going to go all out with this and actually do it right, you should get an EMI dirty electricity meter. And what's really cool about theirs is it has a sound function, but it also shows the percent reduction. So it'll show the millivolts of the current reading of the dirty electricity, and then you leave it plugged in for about 5 seconds, let it stabilize, plug in the filter below it, and you'll see whether it's a 0% reduction, which it often was in my house here, or whether it's a 97% reduction, which is really what you're shooting for. And you really need the meter to figure this out. You can't just intuitively do it. You have to see the numbers. And for some outlets, it's actually going to have zero effect. So grab yourself one of their meters, and then depending on how big your house is, they have 1 bedroom up to 5 bedroom home kits, and you save money depending on the kit that you buy. And if you're not going to do the whole house, I would focus on the rooms that you spend the most time in, whether that's the living room or your bedroom or both. The number one would probably be where you sleep and putting it all around your bed. If you wear a sleep tracker, you'll be able to tell a difference in your sleep quality by lowering the dirty electricity around you, especially if it's over 1,000 millivolts. That's what it was here. That's insanely high. Anything over 50 is considered high. My brand is Mitolife. You can find that at mitolife.co. We have 3 different sections: living, water, and wellness. You can find grounding sheets under the living tab. And those are a great introduction to upgrading your sleep setup. And it's actually a great synergy, especially if you're plugging it into the wall, to combine it with dirty electricity filters, ideally on the same outlet. And I use that trick if I'm traveling with the grounding sheet and I'm going to plug the grounding sheet into the 3rd prong on the outlet. I'll combine that with the dirty electricity filter, and that really helps. Under the water tab, you'll see our 7-stage water solution. Really proud of this under-counter drinking water filter. It took 2 years to manifest this creation, and it's really powerful. It's remineralized with magnesium, ultra pure, easy to service is really the key. For years, I was using regular RO units where it has the push connect filter cartridges, and what a mess, especially when it comes time to service the unit, which your water filter is only as good as you service it. And you have to switch the filters out intermittently depending on how harsh your municipal water is. And we have that under the install guide. So if you go to the page, scroll down under features, click install guide, click on the little PDF link, and that'll pull up the user manual, which has a lot of details about the filter if you have questions about it, especially the FAQ all the way at the end. If you can't afford or you're not able to get a whole house water filtration system, which the minimum you're going to spend on that is $10,000, then a great start is the Mitolife drinking water filter and then a good shower filter, which I have one on my Matt Blackburn site. And then under wellness, you'll see all of the Mitolife supplements. We just released 2 new ones, zinc carnosine. So it's zinc bound to the amino acid carnosine, which has really interesting effects. We just posted on the Mitolife Instagram page its anti-glycation effect. So it actually inhibits the formation of advanced glycation end products, which really contributes to fibrosis. So this is a really cool part of the CLF protocol. This plugs right in there perfectly. And then there's Jellyfish Jolt, which just came out last week, and that's jellyfish collagen. And what's really cool is we were able to fit 1 gram in each capsule without any binder or filler. So it's just the capsule and 1,000 milligrams of jellyfish collagen from 2 different species, Stomalophus meleagris and Rhizostoma pulmo. And jellyfish collagen is often called collagen type 0 because it resembles multiple different collagen types. And the studies on this, really fascinating, how it protects the skin from photoaging, how it supports human brain cells, how it supports the innate immune system by promoting cytokine production and phagocytosis of macrophages. It has a powerful effect on the gut and the gut-brain immune axis and for the central nervous system. I've been honestly megadosing it, taking several grams every day, and I feel incredible from it. Check out the Mitolife Academy on YouTube. That's the private school. You get 2 videos a month and then a live Q&A the last day of every month. I share little biohacking tips, latest experiments, protocols, supplements that I'm trying out. And that's it. I will see you guys next Friday. Stay supercharged.